Today, I'm going to talk to you about stories. What you probably don't realize is that the stories that resonate with us as humans have a shape. Today's story I'm going to explain is the story of Cinderella. As we know from our childhood, Cinderella starts her story in bad fortune. Her mother's died. Her father's remarried. She's got two ugly stepsisters and a wicked stepmother who makes her clean the basement. There's a ball, and she can't go. But then her fortune changes. Her fairy godmother arrives, gives her everything a girl could want to go to the ball. She gets her shoes, she gets her dress, her horse, her carriage. She gets her tiara, her mascara. She gets her ears pierced, gets her selfie stick, and off she goes to the ball, where she meets the prince. They dance the night away, they fall deeply in love. But Cinderella's fortune changes. The clock strikes midnight, and she finds herself back in the basement cleaning the floor. The prince comes looking for her, the shoe fits, and they live happily ever after. So you're probably asking yourself right now, why has this guy traveled the whole way to Japan to tell us this? Well, it's a fair question. And the answer, it's not just the story of Cinderella, it's the story of sport. It's the story of Leicester City winning the Premier League, having almost hit bankruptcy. It's the story of Simone Biles winning gold at Paris, having overcome mental health issues. But it's our story. It's the story of racing. It's the story of a horse bought in Australia for $1,000 that went on to win at Royal Ascot. It's the city of Troy, finishing last in the Guineas, going on to win the Derby. And here in Japan, the grey monster needs no introduction. A country horse that went on to win in front of 177,000 people. As Yoshida-san tells us, telling compelling stories about our industry is our future, not only domestically, but internationally. But first, I'd like to talk about the story of our industry, of the wagering industry. 25 years ago, we were in bad fortune. Fixed odds was taking over. Regulation was on the rise. We were struggling to go digital. We were struggling as national pools. But then, at the Asian Racing Conference in 2007, our fairy godmother arrived in the form of Winfred. You can stand up and take applause. Our CEO and chairman, who suggested that for the first time, we commingle pools internationally. And in 2019, we had our first World Pool event at Royal Ascot. Turnover was up 75%. And Whirlpool's gone from strength to strength. We now have 257 races. We are in 8 countries. We have 25 partners around the world commingling. Oh, sorry. And the last few years have been good for us, good for all of us. Turnover has been up, customers have been up, engagement's been up, revenue's been up. But as with Cinderella, our clock struck midnight, and we found ourselves back in the basement again. Macau's closed. Singapore's closing. Racetracks are being sold for housing. Turnover's down. Customer engagement's down. In many cases, we don't have enough horses. So we are here in our story. Today's speech is about how we come together as an industry to write the next chapter of our story together, and hopefully we will find our happy ever after. Ohio, gozaimasu, watashi wa Michael. I'm Michael Thank you. I'm Michael Fitzsimons. I'm the Executive Director of Wagering at the Hong Kong Jockey Club. I'd first of all like to thank, I'm from Ireland, so I'd first of all like to thank the translators. It's a tough shift. I appreciate your efforts. Alex Frost is on next, so it'll be much easier from here on. But I'm here to deliver a slipper that is innovation and the innovation of the World Pool and the World Pool Network. And can we fit it together with the racing industry to write the last chapter in our story? But first of all, why does any of this matter? Well, as you can see from the figures, in the 1,400 events we had in the UK, the returns from the fixed odds bookmakers at the bottom versus the 17 events of World Pool. On a race-by-race meeting, and it's not normalized, but on a race-by-race meeting, World Pool returns 10 times back to the industry what fixed odds does. So the answer to the question, it means more. It means more to you, it means more returns to your grassroots, it means more engagement, it means more prize money. Fixed odds take your fans as an acquisition tool into high-margin products, into basketball, into casino. Whirlpool gathers the world together to engage customers in your product. So it matters. But why does it matter to our customers? Pricing. Take the example of Nature Strip, the star Australian horse in 2022 traveling to Royal Ascot. 60% of the bets in Australia were on Nature Strip. Now that would give a dividend of 1.5. But because we had balance, we had people in Hong Kong, we had views from England, views from around the world all coming together, we set a fair and accurate price for customers. And it's only through globalization that we can do this. National pools can't do this on their own. So it matters to customers. But as I said, we're not here to pat ourselves on the back. We're in the basement with Cinderella cleaning the floor. Today I'm going to talk about 3 challenges we have as an industry and how we can overcome them through the innovation of Whirlpool. Firstly, the illegal market. As an example, I'd like to take you to the music industry. In the late 90s, the music industry had created walled empires. Customers, to access the single content, the hit single content they wanted, were forced to buy albums full of songs they didn't want. Napster arrived in 1999 and offered for the first time customers an emporium where they could download the singles, the hit singles, when they wanted, where they wanted. Illegal piracy soared. Revenues more than halved. And it was only when, after lawsuits, even after the closing of Napster, this didn't change. It was only when the industry came together as one, firstly through the medium of the iTunes Store, and later through subscription services in Spotify, that they take on the illegal market and win. In many ways, what Napster showed us is that this availability of high-quality content on demand to customers is what we need to do in order to tackle the illegal market. So the innovation of Whirlpool, our first plan is the IFHA Top 100 events. We currently have 23 of the top 100 events. In Hong Kong, we've taken the first steps in simulcasting the next 40, but it's our plan to add content, the top quality content that customers want, until we find that number that satisfies the illegal market. Secondly, our perception challenge. The Achilles heel of parimutuel wagering is odds changes. As you can see in this example, Sophia's Storm enters the gates as a 5-2 shot and is running down the back straight as a 4-5 shot. Now, I believe there's quite a lot of Australians in the room, so I'll just explain. 5-2, that's 3.5. The rest of us can do this in our heads. 4-5, that's 1.8. You'll carry the 1. Got it? Good. Right. But whether you understand fractional odds or not, it's a terrible customer experience. So how's this happened? What has got us to here? Well, the red line on top, that's cash bets. That's coming from our shops. That represents our history. Our technology can deal with this cash trickling in over time. Digital, as you can see very clearly, comes into the pools very, very late. Now, bear in mind, this does not include the professional money. This is just our retail money. But we've seen profound changes over COVID. 90% of our turnover is regularly online. So we need to shorten that gap between bet placement and odds update in order for us to give a satisfactory customer experience. Through the Whirlpool and the Whirlpool network, our innovations, our bet-by-bet protocol and our accelerated odds transmission have, in the first instance, reduced this time by 45%. And we won't rest until we have this down to mere seconds. Moving on to professionals. We believe professionals are welcome and necessary in the pool. And in Hong Kong, we've developed a lot of expertise in managing them professionally and sustainably for everyone. However, they often get a bad reputation. So for the first time, we're proposing this year to work on the Whirlpool professional hubs, where we come together with operators to agree the rules, and then through the Whirlpool and our smart contracts technology, we'll be able to enforce these rules no matter where a professional enters the pool. This will work for the benefit of operators, it will work for the benefit of the industry, where we can maximize your returns, but most importantly, it will work for the customers. Not just fairness, but most importantly, the perception of fairness. Our last challenge is our global audience challenge. Consider the two graphs above. The first one is our median age of racing in Hong Kong over the last 10 years, and you can see it has grown by 2 years. But more concerningly, our median age of racing customer is now 6 years older than our football age. So what can we do about this? Compare us to other sports. We have showstopper events. We have the Melbourne Cup. We have the Kentucky Derby. We have Royal Ascot. We have the International Week at Hong Kong. But these rarely get beyond our national boundaries. Compared to football, 1.5 billion people watch the Football World Cup. $60 million were wagered on the final in Hong Kong alone, a match that kicked off almost at midnight, where we watched Lionel Messi arguably complete his Cinderella story, winning the World Cup with Argentina. It's been estimated that 35 billion has been wagered on the World Cup globally. We need to come together to offer a global product in a consistent way to customers in order to achieve this market. So what are the steps? Well, the first step is localization. Take Netflix and Squid Game. No matter where you watch Squid Game, it's the same underlying product. Whether you're in London, Los Angeles, Tokyo, the same product, localized through different marketing, different subtitles, different CRM. How can we do this for racing? How can we make racing at Flemington feel like racing in Tokyo? How can we make racing in Sha Tin feel like racing at Royal Ascot? Well, for the first time, our innovation, the Whirlpool Data Hub. Like a handy travel adapter, we're going to create a Whirlpool Data Hub where data will be ingested and cleaned and distributed throughout the network. Great for operators who will have one ingestion point of data. Great for the rights holders of data who will have one point in order to access a global audience. But most importantly, for our customers, for the first time, they'll be able to do the form on overseas racing the way they can do the form on local racing. And not just in one country, in any country. The next challenge is broadcast. Consider the events that are welcomed into our house every weekend. Tennis, Formula One. Consistency, consistent graphics, consistent camera angles, in many cases, consistent commentary teams around the world. In racing, we do none of this. We've created television for our local audiences, and whilst this is great, it doesn't travel beyond our national boundaries. So in conclusion, I appreciate the time, in conclusion, if we as a racing industry can come together to create a world event that engages customers, that tells the stories of customers, that emotionally connects with our customer base through the innovation that is the Whirlpool, we can take this global. We have partners around the world. We have better ID. We have bet-by-bet transaction processing for that customer experience. We have accelerated odds. We have a professional hub for the appearance of fairness, and we will have a data hub in order to localize your content around the world. It's our belief that if we can combine the power of racing with the power of Whirlpool, we too can go and meet our global prince, the global audience, and live happily ever after. Thank you.